some leftover fabric. Now what I have done is I have joined the long strip of fabrics together and I'm going to make a bottle sling out of it. So now this joint piece measures 13 inches by 12 inches. And again for the lining also I have a joint piece. This again measures 13 inches by 12 inches. And I'm going to also need one long strip of fabric for making the shoulder sling. This again I have joined, and now this measures 22 inches by 4 inches. So let's begin making the bottle sling with just these 3 pieces of fabric which are also leftovers. I'm also taking a piece of a non-woven fabric. This again measures 13 inches by 12 inches. I'll begin with making the shoulder sling from the long strip of fabric, for which I'm going to fold my long strip of fabric into half first, make a crease by just finger pressing it, open this crease and bring the side edges to the center, something like this, and then folding it back into the center again. So it is going to be like this, and I'm going to give a stitch over the open end and the closed end of this long strip so that my handle or my sling looks symmetrical. This is how a sling looks like after giving a stitch on both the sides. Now we'll take the outer fabric piece, fold it into half lengthwise and give a stitch on the longer side as well as one of the shorter sides. We are going to do the same with the lining fabric also. For that I'm first taking the non-woven piece of fabric, placing my lining fabric on top of it with the right side facing up. I'm going to pin these two together and then I'm going to fold it into half again lengthwise and stitch over the longer side as well as one of the shorter sides. To make the square bottoms of the bottle sling, I'll have to make the boxed corners, for which I'm going to cut 1 inch squares on all the 4 sides. 2 sides of the lining fabric and 2 sides of the main fabric. So first of all I'm going to mark these squares and then I'm going to cut across them. And now I'm going to cut all the 4 squares. Now I'm going to pick one of the 2 fabrics, either the main fabric or the lining one, and I'm going to start making the corners. So I'm going to pick it something like this, match the bottom seam with the center crease of the bag. We have to nicely do it so that we get a beautiful square bottom. So it's going to be like this. And I'm going to clip it. I'm going to do the same for the other 3 corners also. So this is how it looks after giving a stitch for making the square bottoms of my bottle sling. I'm going to turn over my main fabric, the outer fabric, to the right side and just see if my square bottom looks good. Yes, it has come out to be a perfect square at the bottom. Now we are going to assemble the two pieces together and just stitch it over. Now we'll have to attach the sling to the outer fabric. For that, I'll fold this outer one into half, mark the center using a pin. You could also do it with a marker. So this is my center point and this is where I want my sling to be attached on either of the sides. So I'm just going to take my sling and pin it at the center, something like this. Now without twisting, I'll attach the other side of the sling to the opposite corner of this side. So something here, somewhere here, and I'm going to pin it from the other side too. So this is it. Now I'm going to take my lining fabric and I'm going to insert this one in the lining part that we had stitched, like this. And again I'm going to pin the two together. Now I have clipped the two together. Now what I'll do is I'll have to give a stitch on the entire circumference, leaving just 3 inches on one of the sides so that this opening helps me turn the bag inside out. So after giving a stitch on the entire circumference, this is how it looks, and we had left an opening of about 2-3 inches. So I'm going to use this for turning it over to the right side. Now we are just left with closing this little opening that we had left for turning. So I'm going to insert my lining fabric into the main fabric and just give a top stitch onto the entire circumference, which is also going to close this little opening that we have. So I'm going to give a top stitch here and our bottle sling would be ready. This actually is a reversible one because there are no fraying edges or no joints inside or outside. So after giving a top stitch, this is how it looks. I have actually given a double top stitch to make it a little more sturdier and neater. So our bottle sling is ready. Lovely corners, lovely square bottom, and it's also reversible. Look at that, beautifully and neatly done corners and a reversible side to it.